I'm on another level, keep up. On another level, straight up.
Welcome back to another episode of the next generation of entrepreneurial women. My name is Irina Jarova, and my co-host Elizabeth Canon are here to get real. We're talking about all kinds of fun topics. We want to make sure that everything that we talk about here, however, is completely our own experience. It is, this is just a quick disclaimer. Not in any way is this reflective of any companies that we might be talking about or anybody else, really. This is just our own experience, and we just want to be able to share it with you guys. So here we are, Elizabeth. We made it to episode 3. I'm like so excited. How are you doing today?
I'm doing awesome. How are you?
Good. So last week we were talking about putting out fires, and boy, is it real. It's real. We got to be able to put out those fires. So that's what got us thinking. And we decided to talk today, switch the topic a little bit and talk about investing in yourself. And so we're going to have a series of investing in yourself. And the first one we thought about was self-care, right? We want to be able to really invest in ourselves and put in that time. So I think self-care is a great place to start because, one, I'm kind of going through it. So it's great to talk about it. So Elizabeth, I'll kick it off with asking you the first question. So what are some of the ways that you regularly invest in your self-care? And why do you even care about self-care? Why do you even do it?
So, self-care is actually something a little bit new for me because I've always been someone who's just keep pushing yourself, just keep going, you can sleep when you're dead, and so self-care is something that's kind of been a little bit newer for me in the last couple of years. Some of the self-care I've invested in is some forms of therapy. I myself I have my master's degree in marriage and family therapy so that I can understand it better. And I've learned some other techniques and participated in them. I've dabbled in gratitude journaling, meditation, taking time for myself at the end of the day. And then of course, I just had a big birthday back in December. So I'm a lady of a certain age, and I'm not afraid to say it, girl, it's 40. Okay. So life's looking a little different now, you kind of get to a point where it's, you realize you're not going to live forever unless you change some of your bad habits and, really focus on your health. So thank you to you. I started, with what you mentioned in the last episode. I don't do just celery juice, but I do a green smoothie, so to speak, in the morning, and it does make me feel great. It holds me over till lunch. I've tried to step up, exercising and stuff like that. I can't really exercise because I had a major surgery about a year ago that I'm still not clear to exercise, but even just trying to get in steps. But,
you talked about your Apple Watch, right? And how you're counting steps.
Watch, get in my 10,000 steps. I invested, I never pay for apps, but I did invest in an app called Noom, and I'm not sponsored by them. I'm just telling you what I'm doing, so that cost, it's like $100 and something, every 4 months or something. And, ordinarily I'd be appalled. I wouldn't, I have a pen and paper and stuff, but a pen and paper doesn't pop up every 5 seconds. Have you logged your lunch? Have you logged your lunch? So things like that. The Apple Watch, that was obviously an investment. But yeah, it's just, I especially hitting 40, it was just one of those things, girl, you got to start taking better care of yourself. Otherwise you're not going to be here to see your great grandkids, your great grandkids, maybe your great grandkids. So that's kind of where I'm at. So tell me, how about you? What are ways that you regularly invest in your self-care and why?
Oh, yes. Well, there's a couple of things, Elizabeth, that I've been doing. So I think we spoke about this. I'll let the audience know. So I definitely was one of those hustlers, right? I was grind till, you pass out every night. I'd wake up with my cup of coffee and I'd hit the ground running, right? And it wasn't until I think pretty much when the pandemic hit that kind of everything went sideways, right? Like I, at that point, had been, in business over 3 years, and I had a team, things were going really well. And then the pandemic hit, and I was really worried. Like, and that fear and all the anxiety and everything just crept up so quickly. And next thing you know, I was having all kinds of issues. Like, and all of them were like nerve related. So sciatica, and then later I even had some seizures in my sleep. So it got really bad. And I think that those were my wake up calls. I was like, girl, if you're not going to take care of yourself, like, you may not get to the point where, it was just so overwhelming. But at the same time, like, I realized that, these things happen because we can either think, okay, life is happening to us or life is happening for us. And so I've always tried to remember that it's happening for me instead of to me. Although I have to say, some days it really does feel like life is happening to you. So my big thing, so that was why I started really focusing on self-care, because I wasn't feeling well. And that's just basically it. And then like some of the things that I started doing was I was already, in therapy. EFT is what I do, emotional freedom technique. You guys can look that up. It's also called tapping. So you're literally tapping as, you're letting go of some stagnant emotions. So that's been super helpful. The other thing that I started doing was acupuncture. So that was really helpful, really, really helpful. Shout out to Dr. Emily Rowe. She really literally put me back on my feet, because my sciatica was so horrendous, like the worst. I couldn't sit, stand, or walk. Like, it was bad, girl. It was bad. So those were some of the things. And then just recently, I started doing this celery juicing, because I found this medical medium. He basically, he just gives like information out on the internet for free, but he also has books. So I bought all his books, but I first started watching his YouTube channel. And yeah, it was really just fascinating to realize that there's other people that are going through it. Because when you're feeling great, you don't realize that anyone else is suffering. Like, or when people are suffering, you're like, suck it up, you'll be okay, right? Pat them on the back and call it a day, right? So I don't know. I think since all of the things that I've had to go through, I've just become so much more understanding. So, if one of my employees is like, I'm not feeling well, I'm like, oh, take a day off, right? Or if one of my clients is like, hey, I need to reschedule, I'm like, please do, right? Like, whatever you need to do to maintain health, because, I know I was just so transfixed with, just getting to the next goal, just money, 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 money. Just got to get the revenue up, got to do this, got to get more clients, and so now I'm realizing it truly, truly is balance. You really want to make sure that there's definitely got to be some kind of balance. So this next question that we have, Elizabeth, I think is actually really great, because this is the one that I'm currently in the process of trying to figure this stuff out. So how did you train yourself to develop these habits, right? And I'm on a roll, so I'm gonna answer this one first. So my biggest struggle is I finally get into a routine, and this might be part of the question, right? I finally get myself into a routine. I finally am like doing better, and things are going smoother. And then I'll slip off just a little bit. Like, I'll go away and visit family. Like, I was doing yoga pretty regularly, like twice a week. And then 3 weeks ago, I went to go see my mom and my sister. And then when I got back, I was like, oh, I'll go next time. Like, oh, I'll go next week. I'll go. And the next thing you know, I turned around and it was like 3 weeks. And I was like, I've gone to yoga once in 3 weeks. Like, how did this happen? So I'm still trying to figure that out, Elizabeth. So how have you been able to like train yourself to build some healthy habits?
Well, so I think a lot of this has to do with you have to make a decision. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I think to struggle with these things is just part of being a human being. I think it's
Mm-hmm.
I think literally anyone can relate to that.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I make a decision, and normally
Mm-hmm.
something has to prompt me to make it. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's not even like an outward experience. Like sometimes it's just like, you know what? I'm done with this shit and I'm not doing it anymore. Or I'm going to start with this,
Right.
And so like after I make the decision and I decide, then what I've noticed when I have the most success is I simply put it on autopilot. I mean, sometimes I have to make a
Mm-hmm.
plan first, whether it's like, I mean, obviously I can't drink celery juice with no celery, right? So I have to, add it to the grocery list and that kind of thing. But, I make a plan and then I have to put it on autopilot and not
Mm-hmm.
think about it. I mean, I know for some people it works. So like, hey, like small goals and this and that, whatever. My brain doesn't work that way. I kind of like shove it back there and then the time passes and then eventually I start to see results.
Mm-hmm.
Because my thought has always been people like, oh, how do you do all this and how do you do all that? And, oh, I could never, go back to school. I could never, da, da, da. And it's like, well, the fact of the matter is we're all here in time and space. The
Mm-hmm.
time will pass. You just,
Mm-hmm.
what's it going to look like when you're on the other end? So, it's kind of like I can do this. That's good for myself. And 3 years will pass and I'll be in exactly the same place, which for someone like me, I don't like that. I want to progress always, but that doesn't work for everybody.
Me too.
You
Me
know?
too. Mm-hmm.
So that's just me. It's like the time will pass, anyways. And, where will I be at that point? Will I be better off for doing this or will I not? And listen, that doesn't work all the time for me. It's not like a foolproof like method. I'm not like, this is what I do every time and I'm perfect. No, 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 no. But the times I have been successful, like, for example, like there have been 4 major times in my life that I've gained a significant amount of weight. And what I mean is like 30 plus pounds for different
Mm-hmm.
reasons. The first time was I actually was told to gain weight by a modeling agency because I dreamed of being a model, and the only way I could get there with my body type was being a plus size model, and so put on 30 pounds and realized like I'm not making a lot of money. It's just like local modeling, so it's not worth like
Is this worth my health?
yeah, it's not worth my health. And then of course I've had two babies, so and then most recently for having my first spinal fusion, I had to quit smoking. And apparently I was smoking a lot because the second I stopped, like weight just packed on, but every single time I'm like, you know what, I'm done with this. I don't want to be overweight anymore. And so
Mm-hmm.
once I set my mind to it, I just put it in motion. And then one day, like 6 months from that time, I like step on the scale and I'm like, okay, we're moving. This is good. So that's
Mm-hmm.
that's just my experience, and that's just one example, obviously. But yeah, just decide, put it on autopilot, and just do it. You know?
Yeah, and as you were talking, I actually got another idea, Elizabeth, because I was like, okay, so like, what's my thing? One is definitely just getting fed up for sure, like just getting so fed up with yourself. And the other one for me is just like doing it consistently, even when I don't want to. So that's like the big one. I'm like, okay, like just do it. And then you always feel better after you do it, whatever it is, like that thing that you wanted to do. And the other one that has been working for me recently, because I like to stay up really late. And then in the morning, I always feel shitty. So I'm like, why am I doing that to myself? Like, I'm not even like partying or having a good time. I'm literally just like staying up watching like YouTube or something stupid. So I was like, okay, like this is clearly not working because I don't want to be tired. So then I started thinking about how I really want to like invest in the future me. And so that really is like when you're making good decisions right now, right? Like you decided not to smoke or whatever, you're making decisions for the future that's in your best interest. And so that's been helping me a little bit, I think, with just like being consistent. Like, okay, I'm investing into the future me. So if I go to sleep right now, future Irina is going to be really happy with me.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
totally, totally.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Let me hit you with the next question.
Okay.
Our third and final. Okay. So based on everything that we've talked about, what are some additional ways you would like to plan to invest in your self-care? If you,
Yeah. So I want to do a lot of things. I think what has like my plan right now is definitely to get back in the gym because I'm doing really well in a lot of areas. But one thing that's been hard for me is to just be active. And so that's definitely something that's on my agenda. I think if I just give myself like a challenge, kind of like I did with the green juice, like with the celery juice, I was like, okay, I'm going to do it for 30 days. And now it's gotten a lot easier because I've done it for 30 days. So I realized if I give myself like a time frame where it's not necessarily like, oh, I have to do this for the rest of my life, that sounds a little overwhelming. But once you do it for 30 days, it becomes a habit. And then at that point, I think it's easier to execute. So that's my next like challenge that I'm gonna do is like a 30-day, get my, my bottom to the gym and just get going. And you know what's ironic? The gym is literally right underneath, like literally right underneath my apartment. Like I don't even understand how that's like, it's been like over 2 years in this apartment. I've gone to the gym. Like I could probably, no, I actually did do some days where some months where I was more active, but it's not a habit.
yeah.
It's not a habit. What about you, Elizabeth? What are your plans?
I'm gonna not trying to be a copycat, but I am gonna say definitely, getting in shape. I hopefully be cleared. It'll be a year to the date, May 17th, that I had this second fusion. If anyone wonders what this scar is from, it's not a thyroid thing. I actually had, a second 2 cervical fusions. So I'm made of titanium in my neck. But so once I get cleared,
stronger.
Yeah. I do want to get on some kind of fitness program. I've been thinking about what that means, and I've been told, for people in my situation, Pilates is a really great thing. So, and I've done some aspects of Pilates, but I've never gone to like a Pilates class. Another thing I used to love to do, like I think it was after I had my first baby, I used to love to take belly dancing classes. Because I'm trying to think of things that are like gonna not, like my days of Orange Theory Fitness or, lifting heavy weights, sadly, those aren't really in the cards for me, but I can still get in shape. So that's really what I want to focus on. Losing weight is great, but for someone like me, with my spine issues and stuff, I have to keep the core strong. And my pain care doctor actually, he straight up told me, he's like, you need to lose weight and you need to make your core strong. And I'd never had the doctor have the audacity to tell me I needed to lose weight before. So I was like, yikes, okay. So yeah, it's paramount to me preventing getting more of these surgeries, which I'd like to avoid. So that's really what my plan is to try to get myself strong again. And whatever that looks like and means for this 40-year-old body that I have, then so be it. But it's more, when I was young, it was more about vanity. Now it's more about like self-preservation.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. I just want to feel better. So
you look good, and I don't care what you look like, but if you feel good, you look good. In my
I actually wrote that in one of the tracks, like in one of my songs.
Love it.
If you feel good, if you feel good, you look good. Make money like you should.
If you can.
I was actually in the new
that in here, like at some point, or put like a link to that track. I think people would be really interested to hear it.
We're gonna play it right here.
Awesome. Oh, you guys, wait till you hear it. Well, you hear it in the intro and the outro. That is Miss Irina, just in case anyone wasn't aware. So
that's my alter ego, guys.
Jarova, follow her. She's on
Jarova,
YouTube. Where else? Come on, plug yourself. Let's do it.
Yeah, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I'm gonna have a TikTok by the time this launches. So yeah, everywhere you can search Jarova, Spotify, Apple, all of that. So awesome. It'll be exciting. Excellent. Thank you so much, Elizabeth, for doing another one of these episodes. And guys, we're going to be back with another one next week. So stay tuned.
I believe it's going to be another investing in yourself, maybe a part 2, maybe we'll have a part 3. We're not quite sure yet, but we're not done with this topic. So, you know, we'll be back next time and we'll have it figured out hopefully by then. But we really appreciate you guys, and thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Irina. It's always great.
You.
So, yeah, take care. Have a great week, everybody. Bye.
Bye.